Welcome to Readers Guild Podcast. Here we have me, Scribe, Sydney, Nerpy,
Or fire.
or Fire. Wait, that's
I'm
too
going
many
back
names.
to it.
That's too many names. I'm gonna
Okay.
restart. No, I'm joking. Sydney or Fire, Nerpy or wait, do you want to be doxxed? Nerpy? I forget.
Sure.
Okay, Corbano.
Nerpy or Nerpston.
Nerpy or
Yep,
Nerps.
Some might even call me Derpy.
Some may venture out.
This kid,
Call
he
you
really
Derp.
said that.
And then Ashley.
Just
Thank you.
Ashley.
Just me.
Just Ashley, but I'm not Ashley. Okay.
Just me.
Anyways, that's not even the right quote. Anyways, we're here to talk about Red Rising.
I hated it.
Really?
No.
Okay.
It's just disgusting.
I could sense the sarcasm, but I still was shocked because
I was totally ready to just take you at your word.
yeah,
No,
me too.
do you not check my Goodreads?
What's Goodreads?
I really
I told Scribe that I wouldn't talk about it until the podcast, and I literally just post like a full review on Goodreads as I'm telling him that.
Oh yeah, okay. I do not check Goodreads then because I wouldn't know. I only check Goodreads when I need to add a book that I've read. So, but yeah.
I think I haven't logged into Goodreads for legitimately like 2 years.
Oh man, it's gathering digital
I use it more to
dust.
log my books and to stalk people's progress, so I know that I'm better than them.
I just scroll through it aimlessly like it's fucking Twitter. So
That's what I do at work. Otherwise, I like
Hours.
save the scrolls for work because I have nothing better to do.
I will occasionally find a book on a bookshelf at like a store or library, and I will be like, this book seems like a book that is very much hated, and I want to see how hated it is, and I am rarely disappointed because I'll go on Goodreads and it's like an average of a low 3, which means pretty bad because I feel like generally people rate things higher. But yeah. Anyways, Red Rising. I'm gonna give this book. So I haven't actually finished the reread, but I have read it before. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 even now. I don't know what I gave it before, but that's what I would give it.
okay.
I would also give it a 4 out of 5.
That seems like where I would put it.
Okay, Ashley.
So when I listened to it, because I started listening to it, and I was like, this is absolutely terrible, and I was ready to give it a 2, and then I was gonna DNF it, but I switched to a physical book, and then I decided to give it 4 stars.
Yeah, you didn't like the
Oh, really?
narrator.
That narrator, the worst narrator, personally, that I have experienced.
Ashley just
So
does
bad.
not like the Irish accent.
So that I cannot understand a thing the man is saying, and his cadence is just wonky enough that I couldn't speed the audiobook up to my preference. So it
Yeah,
was
he did have a wonky
What?
cadence. Like,
Like,
he
what
would,
happened?
like, talk normally, speed up near the end of the sentence, pause for an extra long, like, bit, and then start the next sentence. So, like, the pauses were too long to where you want to speed it up. But then he speeds up his sentence a little bit, so you're like, well, I can't go past this speed. But then, like, the beginning of the sentence is way too slow.
So he's not balanced at all. Not
Yeah, he's just not.
Okay, now
He's
I
not
feel mean.
consistent.
Okay, maybe he's not the worst narrator ever. I don't want to be rude. It just didn't for me. It didn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't. It didn't. Actually, you know what? I just googled him and I realized he did an audiobook that I did enjoy. So it's just this character, this book.
Which
Didn't
one
like
did he do?
Age of Myth.
I haven't read
I
that
can
one.
picture the title. I cannot think of the book.
I'm
Age of
picturing
Myth
like 7
by
titles.
Michael J. Sullivan. It's got a big.
Ah,
T.
okay.
Oh, I recognize the
Yeah.
author.
Like, this sounds so familiar, but I can't place it.
Very
I've-
fun,
there-
fun book.
There's so many books with age of something in it, so
I
I
know.
was mentioning like 3, 4, 5 different things. Anyways, yeah, no, that's understandable. I personally, when I read it or listened to it the first time, I listened to the audiobook, and I think at that point I was listening to it at 1.4, 1.5. Like that was my audiobook speed up. I wasn't nearly as used to it as I am now. So everything kind of just hit better. Like even the song, EO's song, which I'll ask more in detail
Okay.
later. even that song is so much better because I listen to it now and I listen to it a lot higher and I'm like, oh, it's I because Sydney was like, it's like he's shaking or like vibe. Like, what did you say?
It did not sound good on audio.
No, no, and
The
I'm
song
Yeah,
was so bad.
the narrator was not good at singing it.
I,
Yeah.
I will say I my opinion of it may be biased because the first time I listened to it a lot better than I listened to it this time, and I was honestly just taken aback by the fact that there's just a full-on song in my book and that's actually sang out, which is like I was like, man, I should read some Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah,
and
the
then
only time I will listen to a song in a
mhm.
book is, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. The one who voiced Gollum.
Oh, Andy Circus
Yeah, if Andy Serkis is narrating a book, I will listen to the song.
because
If
out of
not,
sheer
get
principle.
out of my face.
Yeah, and then also I watched so many covers for that song on YouTube by far better and more talented singers. So I'm going to assume that my memory is sullied by that. Well, not sullied, but you know what I mean. I'm biased. I'm biased.
Mhm.
But yeah, EO song.
Yeah, the like lyrics and such weren't bad. That like I guess out of all the other book songs that I've heard, they're
Yeah,
not bad. I think it was just listening to it sped up, and the narrator's not very consistent with the voices and stuff. It was just a little awkward to listen to.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
he.
he's like, "You're not gonna do it, are you?" And then she just breaks out into this awful song, and I'm like, "This woman better not die for this."
galactic
Literally.
diss track. Galactic diss track of heresy.
Oh, I guess we're not, or maybe no spoilers for now, right?
Yeah, I guess no spoilers for now, but I
Okay.
mean, I'm pretty sure it's like said somewhere in the one of the blurbs that what happens. But yes, I'll keep it.
It's pretty early on, but I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, just in case.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so it is. We'll keep it non spoilers for the first bit, and then if it goes on long enough, I might even split it. But that's logistics. We don't need to worry about that. For now, it's non spoilers until we decide to go into there. Now, so I guess overall, my biggest thing for this book is that it is not what it promises it's going to be as a sci-fi action adventure, because largely the plot of this book stays pretty isolated and contained, and it's only until later in the series does it actually later meaning like the next book it actually becomes a sci-fi space opera action adventure whatever you want to call it. So
Mhm.
what were your thoughts on that um, containment, I guess, in this book?
I I don't really feel like because I didn't like read any blurbs or anything. I basically started completely blind.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't feel like I was necessarily cheated out of a story or anything like that. I was kind of just thinking about it in my mind as I was reading. Like, okay, we're. It seems like it's going to lead to this giant, huge war of like the whole society is gonna break apart. But just looking at how long this book is, I don't think that there's nearly enough time for that to happen. So this is probably going to be a more self-contained story, and that's what it ended up being. So just for me, thinking about it like that, I wasn't really. I didn't really have any opinion either way.
Okay, so you got what
Yeah,
you.
I
Yeah.
didn't have the I guess influences that you had going in where I just knew that it was a sci-fi, it was kind of dystopian. I only knew space opera because of you, Scribe.
I
And
mean, I
then
might not. It might not. Geez, sorry. It might not even be considered a space opera. To me, it's just a space opera means big ships go boom in space. You know.
I mean, that's what I think of too. But
Okay, good. Like I'm just saying, I'm not
but
using it like
I
a
didn't
tech.
know it was a space opera going in. So
Yeah,
again,
that's
just
fair.
like
Yeah.
dystopian sci-fi, and then the only other thing that I knew was that the red class was the lowest. And I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, so it's gonna be something like rebellion, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I when I bought it, I didn't realize it was sci-fi because I used to just buy. I'd look at the cover, wouldn't read the blurb, and would just buy the book. Uh, so I was, I guess, expecting something more like The Hunger Games,
Mhm.
not so sci-fi. But then when you were talking about it, I expected it to be more like Empire of Silence.
Mhm.
Um, and I was not jarred or disappointed. It was just slow to start. But
Yeah.
I'm happy with it, I think.
Yeah.
See, I think the beginning was like too fast. Like things were just happening, and I felt like we didn't have time to sit with it. And then the second, not even half, like 2/3, I was like, is this all we're gonna get?
But I liked, but that's where me and you we always differ in that aspect there because I want the slow burn, the world building and the characters just doing menial tasks.
Well, I was fine with the like pacing of the second bit. It was just that the beginning had so much happening that I thought that was just gonna be the pace, and then
Mhm.
it just kind of like stopped. Like we got like 2 or 3 years gone by. I don't actually know the timeline, and then they're just like, here's a few months. Have fun.
Yeah. The density
And that
with
was the rest of
which,
the book. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Another thing that did you guys like the writing, I guess? Because I like to describe it as a perfect bridge between like dystopian sci-fi for young adult to like adult. I feel like everyone says that because I literally today saw a short where people were saying that. But I mean, yeah, the writing is very simplistic in its first person, but it's also present tense. Or is it present
Mhm.
participle? Whatever, one of those ones where I say instead of I said, basically, if that makes any sense. Which is also what Hunger Games is written in. So I don't know if that was a deliberate choice with the plot of the story, but it's another similarity. Did you guys like that?
I had no
I
problems with the writing at all. I found it I found it very easy to like slip into Darrow's head, just kind of envisioning myself as him,
Yeah.
and that's really like my favorite way to enjoy a story is really
because you're a
envisioning myself.
guy.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
you're a guy that wants to be Darrow.
Yeah, just a little bit. I
I
mean,
mean, I can't blame you.
the
That was me too.
the positive aspects of him, of course.
Yeah.
He's obviously a very flawed character.
Yeah.
Um,
And you've read the
so
and to for context, you've read the next two books, so
yes,
you have a lot more things to choose
yes,
from.
I exactly. I have a lot more things to sift through. You know, a lot more bad things and a lot more good things.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no,
What about you two?
I forgot
We
the.
actually talked about this briefly the other day where we both feel like it appeals more to or okay, traditionally more towards a man, right? Like this is not the character's head I want to be in.
Yeah.
Like I can't fucking stand him. I don't like him at any point. I never like him. Like I wish it was told from anyone else's perspective or that we weren't in his head.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's very much geared towards men.
yeah,
But I also often like books about men written by men. Like I prefer a male protagonist, so that's not maybe even the right thing to say. I just didn't like him.
maybe he's too much of a
Mhm.
boyish, like a boyhood fantasy. Like every 16 to 18-year-old kid wants to be this guy, right? Like to some degree or the other. Like they
Yeah,
want
those
to.
were the problems I had with him. It was just like he would just make a quip, and I'm like, that wasn't really necessary. But I
Yeah,
could tell that it was written for someone else. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Like I'm dexterous.
I didn't hate him. I just didn't love him.
Yeah,
He was just kind of there to like move along the story. But sometimes his like internal monologue was a little too dramatic, or like
Oh yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
like we were on the hunt and I was the wolf, or like I don't something like that. You know,
yeah.
where I'm like, what? You didn't need to say that, but okay, I guess.
And
You're so cool and edgy. You're gonna go kill someone.
yeah,
Like,
he
I
is.
don't know.
I like to think that in Darrow's own head he thinks he's so cool because like think about it, he's a red and he's
No,
doing
the
all
author thinks he's cool for writing Darrow.
oh
Darrow
100%.
doesn't even
Oh
think that.
100%. I mean, that's a given. That's a given. I'm just saying like if I was Darrow and I'm doing these things and I came from his origin and I'm doing these things, I would think I'm a little bit cool, okay? Like just a little bit.
Yeah, but you would still be annoying, even if you're cool.
Yeah,
That's
but I
fair.
mean, in this situation, no one actually wants to be Darrow, but they want to be like Darrow. But no one wants to be around someone that's like Darrow in day to day life.
Oh, one problem I did have with him though is that like he does think he's so cool, but he didn't really do anything to get where he was like once the book like picked up.
Really? You don't think so? I
Not really.
okay.
I
Well,
I mean, it's not that he necessarily really did anything. He was able to weather the change. That's really all he did.
Yeah, but it just felt a little convenient because like they just kept doing like these time skips, like they're just trying to get by it,
mhm,
and it
Mhm.
was just interesting because I feel like in any other book it would have been him going through these like challenges and like
mhm.
trying to get through this, and this, and he was just like, I have to wait another 2 months, and then I'll be better.
Well, so
Right.
I will go into more detail about that. Sorry, Derby, you were going to say something.
I was just gonna say that it's not really about him facing those challenges. It was more about him. It was skipping those parts so they could get to the meat of the story, which was basically him rising through the ranks of the society,
Yeah,
and that's really what it was about.
yeah. The first book is very much like a tutorial level for like you just got out of like the tutorial zone. Now you're gonna level up to like your 20s to 30s, and an end game is like max level 60 raid boss. So
Yeah, they're going to school. They're literally going to school.
yeah, they're literally yeah. That is yeah. And the thing that I personally did not like in the midway through, and this is not spoiler again, it's more of like I legitimately forgot the point of him being here because of how much stuff was happening with the specific plot for the first book, which is what I was saying that it's not what was initially promised. I genuinely forgot because it felt like I was as you said, it's like you're going to college to then become an engineer. But you're just like, why am I taking this US diversity course? But yeah,
I don't know if that was kind of the point though, like because he got so immersed in his situation that I feel like he forgot sometimes too.
I think that was the point, narratively speaking. I agree.
But also, we didn't spend again like the beginning felt like it just kind of happened, but that's where he gets his purpose.
Yeah, it's
But
strangely paced like that.
yeah, the pacing was strange, and I can't figure out like if the beginning should have been a lot longer, or if they should have cut things out, or like I can't figure out what to do to fix it.
Yeah, and I think the way you would fix it, it's weird, right? Because to fix it, you would have to shorten one thing, but either of those things are important: the origin and the main plot. It's just weird because the origin can't be really that long because it's a very simple origin when you really break it down, but the plot can't be that short because it's a big plot. But it's like if you shorten it, then you are like, well, now is this book like 30% shorter? And I don't know, it would just be awkward. And I think it's because there's two massive sections to the story, one of which is not actually massive, but it's that important, the origin and then the plot. So I don't really know what was going on Mr. Brown's head.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
His name doesn't sound real.
Pierce Brown. It sounds like a Darrow kind of name, like a like a. I mean, I'm not actually hating on him. I just think it's funny because I would want like a pen name, Mister, not Mister Brown.
P.P. Brown.
No,
Are you laughing at that joke still?
yeah. I don't know if I should keep it in or cut it out to save face. All right. Anyways, the point is, yeah. So I have more spoiler thoughts than I have non-spoiler thoughts, but I want to give it if anything else you guys want to talk about that we can go off of for the non-spoiler section.
Let me see.
Um, I think I'll mention it here that basically my general thoughts on this book was that it was predictable but enjoyable.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
fair.
wouldn't say it was super unique, but like I
Mhm.
enjoyed everything that was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So like pretty much every major plot event and a lot of the specific details I basically predicted at least 5 chapters before it happened.
Okay, that's
Um,
fair. Yeah.
and some of the things I had predicted basically from the start of the book. But whenever it happened, I never found myself saying that could have been better or that was really dumb or anything of the sort.
It didn't need to subvert
I,
your expectations.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've read since I read this book, I've read 12 or 13 more books. So even
Oh
though
my
I
god.
gave it 4 stars at the time and I enjoyed reading it, it was very just like it was a book. Like it wasn't a life-changing book. So I
Mhm.
don't super remember all the fine details at this point.
That's
Um
fair. Yeah.
because it just kind of it was good and that was it.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Wonder what my thoughts would be on it if I read it for the first time here with you guys. Because I know my tastes have also changed, but I just remember it fondly from when I first read
Mm-hmm.
it, and which wasn't that far, which wasn't that long ago, but still. Sydney, what about you? Any final
Yeah, I
thoughts?
mean, I agree. It was uh not anything super unique. I did enjoy the plot a lot. I think it would have been better if the pacing was better,
Hmm.
if we had time to like sit with certain emotional events and kind of like get on his side instead of just reading about what he's doing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's fair.
I would have liked it more, yeah, if it was paced better, but the plot itself was really good. That was my favorite part about it.
Yeah, I actually I think now that I'm rereading it slowly but surely, but I do agree that the first book especially, a lot of it is you're just going through the motions with Darrow for a little bit before you kind of get Darrow in the in the flesh, so to speak, like as a character, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
but uh but I think in to get more detailed, we can move on to the spoiler section. Everyone good with that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so spoiler alert. Bada boom, bada bing. Transition. Anyways, so yeah, okay. So first of all, the I believe that the reason I think Darrow deserved all the accomplishments is not necessarily like fighting skill, like specifically, or even like any educational skill. It's just the sheer grit the sheer grit with which he can command people around him, command respect and both fear and anger, despite being born in a society, red society, that are designed, literally genetically designed to be sheep. Basically, proving that like anyone can do what he's doing. It's this arbitrary tier of gold versus red that they've set, but he is this prime example that if you take someone and put them in the body of a gold, they can be even better than golds themselves, at least from a
Mm-hmm.
leadership perspective, which is what this whole institution is like geared towards. Build society in this hyper lethal situation ground up. There's 4 teams and there's a win condition. It's like, I mean, it's not like Hunger Games where one survivor, but it's like Hunger Games where if if there were 2,400 people and only like a select few could like rise to the top based on a system of law, policies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think he deserves it because of that.
I think we just didn't have enough time to like sit with him in his original body and environment
Hmm.
to like he was a leader because he was a hell diver,
Hmm.
and I mean the book mentioned that like the kids would look up to him, so when he didn't get that one award, I forgot what it was called, They gave it to someone else. Like it was saying that he had to just act like he was okay with it to show the kids that like this
Yeah,
is like I'm the leader. This is what we're supposed to
there's like
do. But
flakes
other
of
than
that
that,
character.
like he
Yeah.
didn't really do anything except jump in a dangerous hole.
I mean, yeah, and I think the character work is very like simplistic early on that leads into like you get basically like one-to-one traits. He's dexterous to give you a reasoning as to why he's good at any of the combat that he learns, right? He's a good like role model for those around him, like just innate those instincts are built into him. And he's ambitious for something that he cares about, but it's a direct contrast to Eo's ambitions. He just wants to be a good hell diver, but that changes. So I think it's a very direct one to one, but you're right. I also believe that there should have been more time in the beginning for that to like really sink in. Huh, Helldiver, sink in. Anyways,
Also, EO, bro,
she
she
wanted
just
to get caught.
yeah, she's like, here, make love to me here, or we'll get caught, so I can go kill myself in front of you, so you can become a person.
I can't tell if that is romantic or deeply toxic.
I, think, I honestly, I fall on the side of toxic. Like
Yeah, fair enough.
literally, I don't know if it's this book or another book, but he literally comes to the conclusion, Darrow does, that he was not good enough for EO, and he is totally correct in that. Like in her mind, like God, God damn.
Yeah.
I don't think it was in Red Rising that happened, but he did say, or she said like, oh my god, what's the quote where he's like, I live for you, and she's like, you have to live for more. Basically, like, don't love me, like,
I have a theory that she was in on the whole get Darrow into the institution plot. They just needed to.
probably.
I okay. So my theory is she did not want to actually get caught, but when she did, that's when she decided she was just gonna die and let it happen, right? I that's my
Mhm.
theory because I think that would make the most sense to not paint Io in like such a villainous position because I think she had a good intention. She wanted her husband to be on her side in this revolution, right? Like the start of this uprising. But I think
Mhm.
the fact that they got caught sealed her fate to begin with. Like there was nothing she could have really done other than perhaps last ditch effort, you know, inspire something in Darrow, which it worked. It was a
Yeah.
you know,
It worked, it just felt a little stupid in the moment.
yeah. I mean,
I
you
was reading it and I'm like, you better not die. Like,
yeah, out of
cause
principle.
Well,
yeah,
they,
whenever they got caught, I'm like, okay, they're gonna like execute her to make a point or something.
Yeah,
And no, they were just getting lashings, and then she's like, I'm gonna sing so I can die. I'm
yeah.
like, girl.
Like what? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Well,
you
exactly.
know, the
mm,
funny part is that when EO's character is first introduced, Darrow says something to the effect of "I love her" or "I love my wife" or something like that. And as soon as he said that, I immediately knew that she was going to
oh yeah.
die.
I think
I
everyone.
just felt it. Like I didn't know how, but I'm like, she's gonna die here. As soon as they got caught, I'm like,
Yeah,
Like
I
yeah.
thought it was gonna be more like character focused on Darrow. Like, oh, if he just stood up to them, then she
yeah.
would have like lived or something, or if he had just been brave somehow.
Like
And I thought
almost
that
like
was
a
gonna like lead him through the book, and
yeah.
literally they were fine until
Well,
she just
well,
said no.
I don't. Okay, this is where again my memory's a little skewed, but it's not like a spoiler. But I think it happens in the beginning too, where they show that they do cut out certain sequences to tell a very different narrative. To
Hmm.
and not only that, but I think it's a bunch of different things. Physically, it got Darrow. It got him in a position where the Sons of Ares could then do the treatment on him, right? The carving or whatever, right? But
Mhm.
also when he was in their position, they let him know a lot of life changing things, which I also agree that I think they should have given a little bit more time for those things to sink in. Mars is not what they were told it was. It has been like civilized up there. Like they've all settled. They're just now mining away more resources to keep it running on their graves, essentially, right? And along with the fact that they besmirched Eo's like actual delivery of that song, they like completely they made all of they basically took someone that he loved that was executed, and then turned the story around and her song, and they lied about their whole purpose in their civilization. I mean, it's a lot for a guy to learn, like right after thinking he just died. So I just think we needed a little bit more time to sit on that for it to be truly believable and more impactful when he makes the decisions that he does.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that was my favorite part though, not just like, oh, we're oppressed and I don't realize it, and he's like coming to realize it. It's literally like he sees this whole other world that he was working
Yeah,
towards this entire time, and he was just straight up lied to.
yeah,
Not just lied to in the sense like you're just a lesser being, but you're doing God's work, that kind of thing. But like he's not even doing the work that he was promised. He's just doing work because they're already there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they're not building the next civilization. They're building. They're like letting their tap water run. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, Ashley, your thoughts specifically?
On
Uh,
the whole thing in
or
general,
on
or
just Darrow, like I guess the beginning on Darrow as a character, and whatever. Like, are there any
well, first of
specifics?
all, how old is he? Because the narrator was giving 45, and I thought he was like 18.
He's
But
like
he's a
16.
kid, right? He's a kid.
Yeah, 16.
He's 16 at book start.
Yeah,
Okay, so in listening to it, it's slightly less annoying knowing that he's younger. Some of the things that he was doing in
yeah,
the very beginning, or the way that his thoughts were, the way that he was processing things, because I thought he was like a man
yeah,
in the beginning, and like, what are you doing? Like, what? I don't.
I mean, in relative to the people of his colony, he is a man.
yeah.
It's just, it's weird. I don't know. So that was going back to me not liking the narrator. Ridiculous, annoying. Is he too good for his wife? Yes, but also she's annoying. Quite frankly, I'm glad she died, because what the fuck was she doing? Like, why did
Yeah.
she sing the song? She didn't need to sing the song. That's silly. Um, I think he just kind of accepted his, like, oh, this whole other world exists out here, a little too easily.
Yeah,
Hmm.
You're just like, yeah, cool. Let's do this, and I'll be better.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
I'll be a gold now that I see this whole civilization.
Whatever you guys want me to do. That sounds fun. Okay.
I think a part of it is ego, though. I think he wants to
Yeah.
also prove that a red can do what a gold can, just given the resources, because he didn't have it, but now he
Oh my
does.
God, what's happening?
I
Yeah, it just felt like after he died, supposedly, um,
he's
things just
already in the
happened up
character.
until he got to the school.
Yeah,
There's
like
like he well,
Yeah.
even actually after Io died, it's like I buried her, I got hung, I woke up, I
yeah,
see the civilization, I get carved, I trained so I can be normal. Now I'm in school.
yeah. I
Now I just
agree.
killed a man,
I think
and then they have like the second
this.
bit, which is the rest of the book.
I think how you could have solved this is making it so as she's being hung, he then gets a little bit of moxie in his guts, and charges forth and like dodges all the guards left and right, catches up to her, and then they're like, "Well, now that you're here, we're gonna hang you too," you know, because that would have done that. That would have one saved an entire chapter. That would have
But
two.
then, how does he survive?
Well, the reason he would survive is because remember the people that want him alive. I reckon they already know they want him alive. Just make like I believe that's so heavily. I don't know. I don't remember if it's specifically
Well,
stated, but
because basically he needs the hemanthus oil from his
oh,
uncle. So how does he
you're
get
right.
that?
Yeah, no, no, you're right. You're right.
Because
N-
didn't he just drug his tea right before?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think you're right. That wouldn't work. Well,
Hey, he
I
could have
tried.
figured
Yeah, you could have figured
Yeah.
something out. Like my whole thing is that it's like they have to get someone to pull his feet. It's not very hard to assume that he like jabs him with a needle in the foot or something. I don't know. So I don't know. but in terms of character, yeah, I agree. Things are literally he's just doing things like because the plot
Doing
says so.
things.
Yeah. But hey, that one scene though when he's like, if you disobey the orders, the punishment of those orders, do them to me, and then like no one actually does it. I'm like, okay, that takes some guts, like because I when he said that, I'm like, dude, you're not gonna be able to walk for months. Yeah, the I that's what I'm saying. I think I liked his character when I was reading it because I saw like what I love in like leader type characters, like this just grit. And maybe it's a little edgy when I get back to it but also it is a 16-year-old, so it makes a little bit more sense. He's living a fantasy of every like hero type 16-year-old wants to live, but then actually succeeding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I did like the part where he found the other red.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
was his
I wish they
Titus.
were able to interact, but I know that they were like being recorded too, so
Yeah.
that would have been a
Yeah,
whole other plot.
that would have caused so many problems.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. But I think that also gave the whole rebel plot kind of more believability that, well, yeah, they don't expect the sole red they sent to succeed. They expect like a handful. They sent a handful, so one of them might succeed. Because even if they get one person into the, past the institution, their plans are already way better than they were like 20 years ago or something.
Hmm.
So that was a nice little scene.
Mhm.
Yeah, even the setup to get in the school I felt was a little convenient.
Yeah. I,
Yeah,
I
like nobody questions it.
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of like
yeah.
got him
I
into the school. I know it was more just to get the plot moving,
yeah.
but everything like in between his death and school was just a little too smooth.
Yeah. I am going.
Convenient.
What'd you say?
Is it convenient?
Yeah, I allowed the sci-fi, fake ID hand waving because, like as you said, just to get the plot moving forward. But I'm like, even modern day bureaucracy has severe flaws. Now imagine that on a like a 8 to 9 planetary system with the like, you know, I'll allow it. There's a
I
lot of
feel like with carving and with the golds being so like egotistical
yeah.
and wanting to, like their color to be so pure, there'd be more measures in place though.
I Yeah, I think so too, but I'm forgetting. I feel like they do address some of it later on, but I don't remember. So I think Nerpy actually is a better
Um,
representative
what
about
what do you
this.
mean? What do you mean address it?
Like address it in the sense that like offer insight into making it a little bit more believable as to why the goals would have not like foreseen this, if that makes sense. And if
Um, I really don't think. I don't think so. I don't. At least I
okay,
don't remember.
okay, never mind.
And it would be fresher in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. Never mind. Then I might be just thinking about something else. But yeah, very convenient indeed. I'm thinking a lot of things in this, not just this book, but a lot of in this series are convenient, and not sometimes because of like, oh, I guess I'll just have to suspend my disbelief, but more that certain things are like very conveniently left out for the sake of I guess I want to say plot twist, but also just like reveals in general. You know what I mean? And just to like
Yeah,
have something happen.
a lot of the time, like very important details will just be left out of the narrative.
Yeah,
Um, and not quite as much in Red Rising, but in the other books, in Golden Sun and especially Morningstar,
yeah,
like. And it's
yeah.
it's like important details where you can't possibly like predict what's going on.
Unless it's a very contrived way of sparking
Yeah.
mystery. It's like you ever see like a mystery movie or like a mystery book, whatever, where like if you just were shown like 30 seconds prior to the scene you were shown, and I'm not talking about like the murder scene because that's like the whole point of a mystery. I mean like present day. They're trying to solve the murder, and you just don't show the viewer something. And if you did, they would have solved it because they can't tell a good mystery. They have to just like hide things from you. So then it's like it seems like a like that. And Red Rising doesn't have a lot of those. Actually, I don't even think it has any of those. Well, okay, there was something with like the kid, right? Like the jackal or whatever. And in the first book, where they're like trying to get him to like do something, and they're like in a hostage situation. I think that was done well. I mean, like there's that little. There's always that little suspicion of what if Mustang betrays him because they're related. You know, Mustang and Jackal or something. I thought that was
Mhm.
done well. So
I didn't know they were related, but they kept saying stuff like, "Oh, the girl," or like, "You're
yeah,
walking into her trap," or like that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I'm happy that she didn't betray them because that would have been like way too obvious.
yeah,
Mhm.
But they're kind of like, she's gonna betray you without saying it.
yeah,
Yeah, I had predicted that they were related. Not like too early on, but basically when she had mentioned that she had a brother, one that was still living, and we hadn't seen him on screen, I
yeah,
basically figured that he was the Jackal.
yeah. I uh I don't think I predicted who it was when I was reading, but because I did also read it relatively fast in audiobook, and I don't think I was thinking very much between my sessions of what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I didn't think they were related, but I thought they were working together because she kept saying "cheat or be cheated," and then he said that, and I'm like, that was a little
yeah,
obvious.
yeah.
Suspicious.
Yes,
Sus.
suspicious.
Little dodgy, little sketchy.
Mm.
But yeah.
I would say Among Us, but Darrow is the imposter.
I thought about that joke, but I figured I've already pushed my limit of terrible jokes. I'm glad you took the point for me. So, yeah. Anyways, oh, and I guess I also wanted to mention, did you guys like the sci-fi elements of the story? Like, did you guys enjoy the various gizmos and gadgets that are presented?
For the carving, not necessarily because to me that was like way too easy. And
Hmm.
for the gadgets, I think because I couldn't quite get like a grasp of what everything was. Like they
Yeah.
probably explained it once and then like didn't again, but I
Yeah,
just didn't remember what everything was, so I was just kind of like letting it happen. I
yeah.
didn't focus too much on it.
Yep.
If
But
something
there was like that one
explodes,
sword that like stabs and then cauterizes or something, and I'm like, I don't remember that was a thing, but okay, I'll just
a lightsaber.
let it. Yeah,
No.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I guess I'll let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not very hard sci-fi.
Oh no, not
Um,
not at all.
yeah, the gadgets were interesting. I definitely liked the sci-fi elements in later books a lot more because you actually get to see them used. Because in
Yeah.
this book, they're all in the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you like they're interesting, but you don't get to see them. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it,
And
after you get into the institute, you can hardly like you could just remove all the sci-fi elements, and it would basically just be a fantasy book.
yeah, that's what I always like to say as well, to describe the plot as being interchangeable.
Mhm.
Ashley, what were you gonna say?
I just, I mean, I've mentioned before that I don't love sci-fi in general, because I just can't keep straight in my head all the little knickknacks and gadgets and their names for things, and they often, and I think this book did a bit of a better job of explaining like this is this, but in
Or you can tell from
general,
context.
yeah, sci-fi is just like this shish kebab, and you're like, okay,
She
like
makes
what
chicken.
does it do? And they just assume that you know what that is in this made up world.
Yeah.
So I do like that they explained things, but I still couldn't keep them straight.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that they do use is very like tropey action sci-fi anyways, even later on. Like I mean, I don't remember the names either cuz as I said it's been a while, but like there's something that like it's like a power fist essentially and you use it for combat. Like I mean, it's a magic gauntlet, whatever. It's like it's a Thanos glove. He's got the Infinity Stones. So
We
did I
share the
really?
souls of one, like one of each color.
Yeah, did I really
Kill a red,
call?
kill a gold.
Oh God, that's gonna be the Infinity Rising.
Oh my god.
No, no.
Read a fan fiction.
I'm not gonna write a fan fiction.
You can do it.
I,
We give
I
you 2 hours. You churn out 2,000 or 20,000 words. You could.
took
You could.
2 hours, dude. If
I
I was
believe in
that
you. I
motivated
believe
for a fan fiction, I'd be a published author 10 times over. No siree. But here's a fan fiction. I would just rewrite Eo's death. Yeah, no, I'm joking. But yeah, so I think so we all gave it like 4 out of 5 across the board, right? Pretty much.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
I think so.
fun but predictable with pacing flaws and character flaws here and there. Specifically with the main guy. I guess I'll ask this now. Who was your favorite character besides? Well, I'm gonna say assuming. I don't think it's gonna be Daryl for a lot of you guys, but
I think
My
Severo.
favorite, yeah, Severo in this book.
So mysterious in this book.
Yeah, it's just because he is so weird and quirky and edgy, and it was
Yeah, he
just
stands
it
out
was
a
so
lot.
funny.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Ashley. Oh, uh,
Oh, I was just gonna say the best word to describe him is bastard, and they use it frequently.
yeah. Um, what about you, Ashley? Favorite character?
I like Nero. I like how he just kind of like he wants to be this awe-inspiring, like powerful bro, but he just keeps getting foiled.
Who again? Sorry, you cut out.
uh, Nero.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah, very fun.
yeah. He's the proctor, right? Just to be, or the big guy, the
Augustus.
Augustus. Oh my God. Okay, got it. Yes. I don't know why I thought he was the proctor. Um, Augustus.
Augustus.
He's a good antagonist, and like I guess like
He's interesting. That's why I said, like, I wish that the book took place outside of like Darrow's head because I
yeah,
find so many of the other characters interesting and would have liked to see a little more of most of them.
yeah,
But I feel like because when you're stuck in that first person perspective, it's hard and
yeah.
sad
It is.
for me. Anyway,
And
heartbreaking.
and I agree, and that's I guess this is what I said about when we discussed Dresden like a while ago, is that I feel like when you're in a first person perspective and that's the only perspective for a series, then it's like a hit or miss for a lot of people. Like some people, well, like you said, if you don't like the main character, you're gonna spend most of your time in the series being annoyed. Like God. uh, what were your thoughts on Mustang?
I liked her.
She was okay.
Okay,
She was there.
she was
Girl.
there. She
Girl.
was a girl and she was there. This is I can
I
attest to
predicted
this.
that she and Daryl would end up together in their first meeting. So I mean that's
Yeah,
not really a
that
hard
was
prediction
kind
to
of
make,
obvious.
but literally like it was very easy.
Wait a minute.
And that's
Is
another problem I have with the time skips too. Is like the beginning of the book, his wife literally dies,
yeah,
and then halfway through the book, you're like another love interest
It's another
already.
one.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I guess narratively it's jarring, but if you are like, well, technically, this much time has
Yeah, but
passed.
that's what I'm saying. The time
Yeah,
skips, right? Like it was maybe not quite 2 years, but like it was many, many, many months because they
yeah,
were. It took a month just to like be done with the carving uh, process, right?
yeah,
And then that final test thing was also many months.
yeah,
So it had already been a while, but like when you're reading a book and I mean, it's like what 400 pages or something, and if like in the first 100 pages she dies, and you're
yeah.
on page like 300, and there's a girl introduced, you're like, that's a little early for that.
I wonder if it was like a unexpected or unintended red herring of like him trying to set up like a betrayal at the end of her, like, oh, the first love interest got herself hung. This one, I don't know, stabbed him. You know what I mean?
I thought it was gonna be like, oh, she's humming Eo's song, and then he's gonna get to know her, and she sympathizes with the Reds. Like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, I can't believe they treat them that way. And he's like, I know.
Yeah.
He leans in
And
a
he's like,
husky
you're the one
voice.
for me.
Yeah, you understand my pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
I wish she betrayed him at the end. I think it would have been more interesting.
oh,
I
really?
yes. It would just, I don't know.
He would have.
I wanted him to be seduced and then hurt again. He needs more pain.
Well, wait a little bit, I guess. But until the next couple book, or the next two books. But so yeah, it's like, ah, yes, my ex was killed, and I was killed by my recently ex. The duality of man, and then he like bleeds out in the snow or something. Yeah, and then Severo takes on the mantle of the Reaper, and then saves the universe.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
So fan
Little
fiction,
less.
Sydney, you're gonna write this fan fiction?
No, that's your job.
We
Well,
can write it together. We'll write it real quick. We'll turn it out.
10,000 words, one day. Let's go.